Welcome to the 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge of 2024. Today I am going to be using some different kinds of sprays and these little tiny gears to try to paint this cover. And I'm using the Tim Holtz Distressed Paint Stain. It's a spray stain, so you're supposed to shake it up, and then it has like a marble in it, and you are supposed to spray it on, and it comes out really thin, as you can see, and it's soaking up immediately into my fabric. So I think we'll have to use that little sponge because it didn't leave any type of negative space there. You can't see any of the shapes I was going for, and I want to get as much gear aesthetic as I can because this is a steampunk journal. So instead of that, I'm trying to use this sponge to soak it up, and we got a little imprint there. So instead of spraying it on, I think I will just use the spray stain on the sponge and then try to get some kind of negative printing here done with these gears. And these gears are just like, you can get those from Tim Holtz or Joann's or Walmart or wherever. They're generic, but at least it's leaving some kind of shape there and giving it some kind of feeling. And I also have the silver. I'll try that out. I have some buttons as well. We're just going to see what works best. And I think if I had a jean material, maybe or some kind of something that was less absorbent, maybe the spray would have been better. Or if I had a stencil that was possibly, you know, those stencils they sell with the glue on the back, it kind of glues it adheres itself, and then you spray it. And I thought maybe it's not spraying out properly because it's clogged, so I'm just using this needle to try to unclog it. But no, it's it's spraying the same. So I'm just going to use it as a background, and then let's see how this silver one does. I thought maybe the pump wasn't working, but I think it's just that this lid is cracked, and so it's pumping right out the side of the crack in the lid. So it's starting to come through the nozzle, but I think we're just gonna have to like flick it on. But of course, this is a junk journal, so any mistake is fine. We can just do something over top of it. I have a calligraphy pen that is made of glass here. I'm gonna try to use my Paper Fashion Metal Liquid ink, or it's like it's called Paper Fashion Liquid Metal Paint, and it's a golden, and I'm going to try to use this with my calligraphy glass pen to draw some kind of shape that looks like a gear onto these black spots, and try to blend those in a little bit just to see what it looks like. Again, this is all practicing for the front of the cover. This is the back of the cover, and I wanted to try out all these different paints and sprays and ideas I had to see what was going to work for the front. And because it's a steampunk, at the end, you know, I'm going to go over with some inks. I'm going to grunge it up. I'm going to try to make it look like more worn, and I just want to get that steampunk feel. And so it's okay to experiment, even if it's on something that you're planning to give as a gift or to sell, or something for you to keep as a keepsake. It's okay to experiment because you can't really get anything wrong on a junk journal. You can always glue over top, you can paint over top, you can add things, different techniques that you're learning along the way. There's no right or wrong, it's just fun. I can already tell that this liquid metal paint is way more glossy and shiny. It's going to give that metal look way better than the Tim Holtz on this fabric. So I don't know, maybe the Tim Holtz Distress Spray would be a little brighter if this is a white cottonish fabric, so maybe it would be brighter if we were just doing it on paper, but this is a fabric, so it soaked right in. But this metal paint, again, this is called Paper Fashion liquid metal, so this is definitely giving more of a shine like metal, so going over it is giving more depth, and I'm loving it. If I had gear stamps, I would dip the stamps in this liquid metal, but I don't. So maybe if we use the actual little gears to maybe paint on top of, we could try that and press them down like a stamp. So let's just try that out. I'm just gonna dip it straight in here and kind of fill it. I might be able to use a paintbrush, but I think this is working pretty good. We'll just see how much I have to put on here to get a nice print of this gear. This is working great. So I think we need a little bit less paint on the gear. Let's try that again. That seemed to really like squish out. It was pretty thick. So this one with just a less, it's just, oh yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do a bunch of these, and we have covered, I did all three of them, all different gears, all on the black, and I'm loving it. Now I'm gonna add this paint, or sorry, not this paint. I'm gonna add this Tim Holtz Distressed ink, and I believe that this is I think it's the walnut stain. It's a Tim Holtz Distressed Walnut Stain. I'm also using the vintage photo in this journal, and the edge of my little sponge seems to be coming apart. So if I use the middle, it gives a better press. Now that it's grunged with that vintage photo, I'm gonna use the peeled paint. It's called peeled paint. It's a green one. Tim Holtz Distress Ink peeled paint to give it kind of an aged look. It's green. So to me, it's oxidized. You know, when metal oxidizes, it's blue and green. And I'm going to use the blue next. And that one is called Tim Holtz Distressed Ink Faded Jeans. Actually, let's go ahead and try Forest Moss on top of this other green, this peeled paint. I think it's a little too bright, so we'll put on a layer of this Forest Moss. It's a little bit darker. Again, it's Tim Holtz Distressed Ink, and I think this will give it a more depth just right on top of that. Yeah, oh yeah, that's so much better. So those are the two greens I used. First peeled paint, which is lighter, and then Forest Moss, and that made it look way more aged and grunge. Now let's get into this faded jeans. I have blue going through. When I do the flip through, you'll see I have some blue pages from one of Dawn at Scrapbook Sage, her digis, and so the blue like runs through the pages, and I kind of wanted to reflect that, and also of course blue means oxidation, so it goes well with the grunge feel and that that industrial feel. All right, we got that all dry. It worked out great. You can see the shine on there from that liquid metal. Now we are going to do the front. So we know what works and what didn't, and we can head straight into using the gears with the liquid metal to stamp. First, I'm going to spray the background, but much less than we did on the back, because we know that the gold seeps right in and spreads out, and so we're going to do a little bit less of that. I really want to get more of that tiny splatter than the big blotches, especially since we're going to be covering most of it. I'm going to try to decorate the outside edges more than the middle. And with the silver, we know that we had a tough time with that one, so I'm just going to flick it on. It's just easier than having it seep through the crack and make giant splotches. So I'm trying to get that splatter effect. Next, I'm going to go right in with the liquid metal and use the gears as stamps again, and go ahead and paint those gears up and stamp them all over. It worked amazing, and I just have gear stamps on my wish list now. And this time I'm going to go ahead and try the paintbrush. I did a much lighter background for this front of the cover because we're going to be covering the whole middle part right here, and I let it dry. Here's what it looks like dry. And please don't forget to follow my friends. Look at the description for all their links. They have tons of cool ideas. They're always inspiring me. Check back here soon to see how I experiment with steampunk clusters and steampunk layering, different ephemera, to try to get the perfect look for the front of this journal.